Train Sim World 4. Is it worth it? And for those who already own Train Sim World 2 or 3, is it worth the upgrade? What is going on, beautiful people? It's your boy Blue, and after this video, hopefully you will have a better understanding of what you can expect from Train Sim World 4 and my honest thoughts on what I like and dislike about it so far. First, what's new in Train Sim World 4? Well, there is the new photo mode that allows you to pause the game and take high quality screenshots anytime, anywhere. Free roam mode, which allows you to spawn any train anywhere. There's also a long awaited Scenario Planner 2.0 and Livery Designer 2.0, which we will talk about later. Also, there's new volumetric fog, better overhead line rendering, new scoring system, new HUD customization, various UI changes, optimizations, and the PC editor. With the standard edition, you will get 3 routes: Vorarlberg, Antelope Valley Line, and the East Coast Main Line. Vorarlberg is the first Austrian route for Train Sim World, although it does have a border crossing into Germany along the route. It's 44 miles or 70 kilometers with 28 stations in between. There's also a few larger train yards with plenty of room to store freight or out of service passenger trains. The featured train for this route is the OBB 4024, which is an earlier version of the Talon 2 that we are used to seeing in Germany. I actually like this route more than I thought I would. It's not my favorite, but it's still pretty nice. The 4024 is a pretty sweet looking train, and I find myself continuing to come back to it. The sounds on the 4024 are nothing to get excited about, but it generally sounds okay. At all, but I'm sure there'll still be a sound pack created by someone in the community soon. The fastest line speed is around 120 kilometers per hour with stops every few kilometers. Traffic is not extremely heavy, but you may find yourself stopping at a red light waiting for traffic at least once or twice per service due to a few single track sections. The mountains are one of the main features of this route, and I have to say they are the best looking mountains I have ever seen in Train Sim World. Thanks to a new technique using LiDAR data, near and distant ground textures look much more detailed, but this only applies to routes built since the release of TSW4. The entire route will take you an hour and a half to 2 hours if you stop at every station, but there are plenty of short runs you can do that take as little as 20 minutes. If you like fairly busy, frequent stopping commuter routes, you will like this one for sure. And the Antelope Valley Line features 76 miles or 123 kilometers with 13 stations between LA and Lancaster, California. On this route, we are driving the Metrolink F125 with the new Rotam cars. To be honest, when they first announced this route, I was pretty skeptical. I thought, great, another bland desert route. And TSW has had a pretty bad reputation with US routes in the past, but this one is a huge step in the right direction. Ground textures, rocks, trees, and other foliage all look a lot better. The ballast is blended better with the grass and dirt beside the track, but even with the improved textures, the far mountains look pretty bad, especially on the northern end. Not as bad as Cajon Pass from Train Sim World 3, but still needs some work, which is sad because you are staring at them throughout the entire drive. Now, you won't see a lot of traffic unless you are closer to LA Union Station. When you get up north towards the mountains, it's mostly single track, but just like Vorarlberg, you might get the occasional red to yield to oncoming traffic, but don't expect to see much freight. The entire route will take you around 2 hours and a max line speed of 79 miles per hour. The south is fairly busy, a lot of railroad crossings with frequent stops every few miles, and the northern end is more spread out with less stops but more challenging turns and gradients. What I like most about this route is the train itself. They did a great job modeling the F-125 both inside and out, but the best part is the sound. I mean, just listen. The East Coast Main Line route is 80 miles or 128 kilometers long, the longest UK route from Train Sim World so far. With just 5 stations between Peterborough and Doncaster, you can expect to go as fast as 125 miles per hour with the LNER Azuma high-speed train, which is a beautiful train. They did a great job with the 3D modeling details both inside and out. Includes first class, standard seating, and a kitchen area, as well as various options and settings on the right screen in the cab. Depending on what timetable service you choose, it will take about an hour to run the full route, with about 15 to 20 minute runs between stations. There's no AFB or cruise control, so you have to manage your own speed. If you like long, high-speed routes with very few stops, you will love this route. And personally, I think it sounds pretty good too. The scenery itself is nothing special. It's what you would expect when driving through the British countryside. Farms, grasslands, hills, and railroad crossings through a few small towns. The timetable is fairly busy. By default, you will see both Azuma and freight traffic, but if you own some of the other British route DLCs, you may see a bit more diversity. If you get the deluxe edition, you will also be able to run the Flying Scotsman steam train on this route. This is a very accurate replica of the Flying Scotsman as it's seen today. Even the crew are wearing their purple uniforms. The Flying Scotsman's pretty easy to drive with very basic functionality, which is great for new, unexperienced users. But if you are looking for an advanced steam train simulation, you will be very disappointed. There's also currently no animations for the firemen. Also, with the deluxe edition, you get the Vectron locomotive that you can run on Vorarlberg and the new improved Dresden route. Besides the 3 new routes, if you are coming from the previous train sim world, this is not a flashy upgrade. The visuals look exactly the same minus the volumetric fog. Most of the changes are under the hood with minor quality of life changes like the HUD, customization, and menu settings options. For example, Livery Designer 2.0 has a reworked UI and they added undo redo, which should have been there to begin with, but a feature I think livery designers will be happy with is text entry, font selection, and you can now use up to 1,000 layers. Scenario Planner 2.0 has a UI update as well, so now it allows you to customize the start time, weather, more routing options. AI trains can now spawn and drive off the map to make your scenarios seem more busy, but personally it's still confusing as heck to set up. This version feels more like Scenario Planner 1.5. I was hoping for a bigger update to this feature. I think there's a lot more work to be done here. But now to one of my favorite new features, photo mode. Train Sim World may not be the most complex, hardcore train simulation, but there's no denying just how good it looks. There's plenty of eye candy, and one of my favorite things to do in Train Sim World is take screenshots and do virtual drive-bys as if I were train spotting. Now with photo mode, it's even easier. While paused, you can adjust the field of view, depth of field, rotation, exposure, and saturation, then save and upload it to Dovetail Live. Another new feature that I have really enjoyed a lot more than I thought I would is free roam. You can either start an empty free roam session or join any timetable service. Then spawn any train you want, anywhere you like. Then go to the map and just click where you want your destination to be, and dispatch will give you the best route possible. I mean, it's crazy fun actually, and if the train gets in your way, you can just walk up to it and delete it. I wish Scenario Planner was this easy. But one thing we have to talk about before I go is performance. Now this depends on your system. For the best experience, you want to play this on the latest generation of consoles or a mid to high-end PC. So potato PCs are not recommended. Your FPS will depend on the route, so busier routes with more traffic, more passengers, and higher density of city buildings will see lower frames and possible stutters. I usually have a pretty smooth experience with the default routes, but one major complaint of mine is the huge frame drop I get when traveling at medium and high speeds. This happens both at low and ultra graphic settings. I'm told this is due to the scenery tiles loading as you drive the route, but I would much rather all the route scenery be loaded in the initial loading screen, even if I have to wait longer. This has been an issue since the first Train Sim World and needs to be fixed. For new players, Train Sim World 4 is the perfect introduction to learning how trains and railroads work. There's a lot of optional on-screen guidance and a training center section that I really recommend new players give a run through. Plus, it has some great voiceovers. But with all that said, is it fun? I mean, that's what's important, right? When it comes to train simulators, you really have to discover what's fun for you. TSW4 only comes with 3 routes, but all the previous released DLC for Train Sim World 2 and 3 will be playable in Train Sim World 4. Some people like driving heavy freight trains at 30 miles per hour for 2 to 4 hours, while others prefer to stop and pick up passengers every 2 to 4 minutes. Either way, there's hundreds of services you can run back and forth down your favorite route at various times and weather conditions. Of course, exploring a new route for the first few runs can be fun and exciting, but for more casual players, this might become repetitive and quickly lose interest. But if that happens, it may be time to explore some community-created mods and DLC in the Creators Club. Sadly, there's still no multiplayer, but thanks to the PC editor, we should see a lot more mods and community-created content. Personally, I really enjoy the game despite its limitations. There's still a lot to enjoy, but I agree with many in the community that the differences between versions 3 and versions 4 are not significant enough to be sold as a brand new game. This should have been an update with the 3 routes sold as a paid DLC bundle. So finally, is it worth it? Is it worth it today? If you're a hardcore train simmer looking for realistic physics and train systems, it's a no. If you own Train Sim World 3 and don't care much about these new routes or features, then I would say wait for it to go on sale or wait for a new route that interests you. And if you don't own the previous games and absolutely love trains and nothing I said in this video was a deal breaker, then I say go for it. Hey, but don't just take my word for it. You are free to have your own opinion, but I hope this video helps you make a more educated and non-biased decision. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember you have 3 choices: give up, give in, and give it all you got. Peace, love, and God bless you. I'll catch you guys in the next one. We out.